We're ready.
All right. All right, today's Wednesday, May 1st, 2023. This is a regular session of the School Board of School Trustees of the School City of Chicago. The time is 6:03 p.m. The place is Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street, East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. We're also via live stream at www.fpec.k12.in.us. This is a meeting of the school board in public for the sole purpose of conducting the school corporation business, and it is not to be considered a public community meeting. Number one is roll call. Madam Secretary.
Trustee Gomez?
Present.
Trustee Smith?
Present.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Present.
And King?
Yes, present.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Present via live Zoom. Just for the record, I did have to remove myself from the election board time clock in order to participate in today's meeting, so I wanted to share that with everyone. Let's all stand for the pledge, and please remain standing after the pledge. Thank you. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our two beloved students, Fernando Soto and Diego Villa, as well as one of our employees' wife. Thank you. So you may be seated. 3.1, approval of the agenda. Are there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the approval of the agenda? I'm going to ask Secretary Trustee Gomez, if you see anybody who raises their hands or give a nod, please let me know.
There's someone from the public that's raised their hands.
All right, hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board to approve items 3.01?
Mr. President, I move for approval of 3.01.
Okay, motion made by Trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Trustee Smith. Is there any questions or comments at this time? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 4, consent agenda. Is there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the consent agenda?
Mr. President, there's one person. Ms. Sardis?
I just want to know, will we ever know who gives the donations? All it has is donations, and what donations are they that's being given, that we're about to pass?
Yes, we have those, and I submit them to all the governing board. When we get to that item, or, I don't know, Attorney Harris, can I say them now,
Yeah.
or wait?
So you can say them. The purpose of them being on the consent agenda is for them to kind of run through the agenda a little quicker than normal. But if there's ever a time that there's something on the consent agenda that you'd like to get information on, you can just make a public information request and they can provide you with whatever documents that you need. It looks like there's quite a few that are on here. If the superintendent would like to go through them, he can, but there's several though that are on here.
Which one did you have a question on, the what now?
The donations.
The donations. Okay, let me, that is item 4.5. Okay. On the donations, we received a $125 donation to McKinley to support the parent volunteer luncheon. We also received a $50 donation for Lincoln Elementary for their field day, and a $100 donation for the baseball team, and a $245 donation for Harrison for student incentives, and also a $232 donation from the Parks Department for our little libraries.
Is there any questions from the audience?
Mr. President, there's no other questions.
Okay, do I hear a motion from the board to approve item 4?
I make a motion, Mr. President, to approve item 404. Item 4.
Made by trustee Gibson King, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and of course, this includes the consent agenda, which is 4.01, 02, 03, 04, 05, and 06. Is there any questions or comments from the board at this time?
Chairman, I'm sorry.
On the claim docket, page 12, claim 57729, it's stating removal for boxes, a purchase. Dr. Brego, can you explain that?
I'll do the best I can. I believe we purchased boxes because we're doing some relocating of classrooms and whatnot. So teachers wanted boxes so they could put everything in the boxes and then have them packed up in their classrooms, and then we're going to move them to whatever classroom they're going to be in. And the purpose of this, Ms. Smith, is, for example, if we have an elementary classroom or a school, we're trying to keep all kindergarten students in one section, then first grade, second grade, all together. So if they're not, we're asking our schools to organize it that way. And it's the same thing at middle school. We're trying to have seventh graders on one side, eighth graders on the other, and if we have to move some classrooms around, that's what the boxes are for.
So you're saying the boxes was just a purchase from Home Depot, but the actual work is the maintenance? Or-
Yes, yeah. The teacher will just box their items, and then maintenance will move them to wherever.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Hernandez Orange, did you have a question?
Yes, I had, in regards to the claim docket, I'm starting to see again that we are continuously, I guess, re-keying items. And I guess my question is there was a reason why we're not using the local location, the local businesses here. This is the second time we've used Brandy's in Maryville. We have several local mom and pop stores in East Chicago. I would just suggest that, well, first off, why are we going to Maryville? The second thing is, why can't we go here? Also, you sent us something in the email stating that you wanted to postpone the fundraiser for the golf, yet now we're here approving it. From what I see right now is, well, and I don't know why it's not, but you stated that you weren't going to approve it.
No, I didn't say.
Want to table it, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I said you may want to consider tabling it because the way it was worded, it was worded by it was a fundraiser by the head coach of the basketball team and the head coach of the boys basketball team and the girls basketball team. And we haven't named basketball coaches. So if it's for the basketball program, no problem. It's just the wording is all it is.
So then are you suggesting that we have that tabled, and that's the case, and you'd want to table both fundraisers because they both have the same verbiage?
Well, you have the option. You could either table it. I did call the athletic director, and I told him, if we approve it today, we want you to understand we're approving it as the basketball program,
So then what if you guys decide to hire a different basketball coach, and the only reason that they're receiving, I don't know, the discount on the location, or those basketball coaches are the only ones that know how to do a fundraiser, are you going to hold them, obligated to make them do this fundraiser?
I don't quite understand your question. All I'm saying is that we want to have the fundraiser, but I don't want to designate it as the head basketball coach by name because they're not actual basketball coaches yet. We don't approve that until the fall. So the fundraiser is good. The only thing I ask Coach is, Coach, just place it as a fundraiser for the basketball programs without putting specific names.
So this is the second problem now that I'm hearing what you're saying. So the actual fundraiser is supposed to be for July, yet you want them to not do it, or because they have to get, reapproved to be the coach in the fall. So you see it doesn't match.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the fundraiser, they're more than welcome to have it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they said is, this is a fundraiser that is sponsored by head coach blank. And that person is not the head coach yet. They were last year, but for this year, this upcoming year, we don't have any coaches yet.
So I'm going to explain to you the problem, because it happened to me before. What's happened is that the coaches do all the work during the off time that's needed, but then when a new school board and/or a new superintendent comes in, then those coaches who have been doing the work of the summertime end up getting cut. I know firsthand when that happens, because it was done to me. So my thing is that if we're going to allow it to happen underneath these coaches, then great. If not, then you should just probably wait till the next meeting, name the head coach, have the process already happen. Because in reality, for a basketball coach, you're already working now for the upcoming year. So we're behind, extremely behind, basically, for fall coaches. They should already been approved, and for winter coaches. That's why I don't understand the timing of what you're saying.
Well, from what I heard, there's only one problem. You said the basketball coaches are doing this. We have not assigned basketball coaches or approved basketball coaches for next year. So if anyone is doing work for their program, that's a great thing, help our kids. But we don't know who the basketball coaches or any coaches are going to be yet for next year. They have to be recommended by the athletic director. When that comes to the table here to us, then we can approve those.
So if they're able to do all the paperwork and get it done within the next, 2 weeks, and then you'll end up, I guess, approving this in the next 2 weeks, don't you think that would kind of be a little bit better? I just don't want all these
Okay,
coaches
well,
to start doing all the work, and
well-
then you guys decide who's going to be in that position.
Well-
That's all I'm saying.
It's not you guys, it's we're violating policy because people shouldn't be doing work unless they're approved for that position. And as again, I'm stating, no one has been approved as a head coach yet, so they should not be doing any work and expecting us to say you are the head coach or whatever, because you don't do work unless you're approved by the governing board.
Got it. So as a superintendent of the schools, you're saying that those coaches who are working with their kids now for the fall and for the winter, because they've not been approved, they should not be doing it, correct?
Oh, I
So
think there
let me
should
ask
be,
you, can I chime in real quick? Because obviously we're kind of extending our time here. Trustee Orange, are you asking to have this matter, this particular matter tabled for next?
Well,
For
first,
next week?
I thought that he was tabling it for the reason of the fact that these coaches weren't approved yet, so he wanted to approve the coaches and then do that. From his message, that's what I thought he was going to suggest. Now, he's now going into a whole different story where these coaches possibly aren't going to get approved. And now I even feel worse for those coaches that are in limbo, because right now, those coaches are actually with those kids coaching, doing, for fall and for winter, because we haven't approved fall yet either. So, and I actually have, as a park director, I contacted all those coaches because I was told to have summer programs. But now they're probably going to back out because of the statements from the superintendent that they might not get hired. So it's just very sad to hear.
Yeah, I don't think they're at that point yet. I think that what the superintendent is basically saying, if there's any fundraisers coming from any head coaches, we have to make sure that they get that position first before they start throwing fundraisers.
Right. I hear.
We're not throwing a fundraiser and the guys, or whoever it is, saying that they're the head coach if we haven't approved it yet. So I can see where the confusion is, but here's what I like to do. If you want to table it, we can put it on the table or we can make a motion to have it tabled if that's what you desire at this point. But I think I kind of understand where the superintendent's coming with on this. So is that what you want to do?
I want to get coaches hired because now it's a bigger problem that he just stated, honestly.
Because obviously we don't know the future, so we don't know whether that coach is going to get hired or not. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and move forward then. Is there any other questions or comments? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
No.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 5, old business, 5.01, for rent, formal Carrigash Elementary by EPA. Dr. Brago?
This is the Environmental Protective Agency. They're requesting to use Carrigash. It was tabled before. They submitted all the required paperwork, so now we're ready to move forward with their request.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the approval of rental for the formal Carrigash Elementary by EPA?
Mr. President, there are no questions or comments.
Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board to approve item 5.01?
Mr. President, I move for approval of 5.01.
A motion made by trustee Gomez, is there a second?
Second.
Second made by trustee by trustee Smith, sorry. Is there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 5.02, approval of East Chicago Foundation to use Washington Elementary Auditorium and Cafeteria with the date change of May 17th. Dr. Brago.
Yes, the Foundation of East Chicago is requesting to use Washington Elementary to meet with 60 high school students and their parents for a scholarship recipient meeting. They're asking for the rental fee to be waived, and they have submitted all the required paperwork, and we do want to waive their fee because they're working with our students for scholarships.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience in regards to the approval of the EC Foundation to use Washington Elementary Auditorium and Cafeteria?
Mr. President,
May
there's no questions or comments.
Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board?
I make a motion,
approve
Mr. President,
point zero.
to accept this from the Foundation of East Chicago.
I'm sorry?
I say I make a motion. Or did you open it up for a motion?
I did. I opened up for the motion, yes.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
making a motion.
Was that trustee Gibson King?
Oh, I forgot, you can't see us, right?
Okay, trustee Gibson King made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Gomez. Is there any questions or comments at this time? Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Now we're into new business.
I have a question, Chairman, I'm sorry, and to old business, and maybe the attorney needed to just redirect me. The fact that we didn't have on there from previous old business of the 3% raise for the security administration and the non-cert, was it supposed to be on here again and then we table it? Or it just doesn't go on there because there was a consensus, obviously, to not put it on?
So there's two ways items get on the agenda. The first way is the traditional way, and that's the board president and the superintendent work together and coordinate as to what's on the agenda. The second option is if there's an agenda item that was tabled at the last meeting, it'd be tabled to a date certain. So if it's tabled at that meeting, then it would automatically be on the next agenda.
So wasn't it tabled on the last meeting to hear, or just because both of them ended up talking about it, that's why I didn't get on there? No, it was tabled from the last meeting to come back on here after we had an executive session. So yes, it was tabled.
So when it's tabled, the person who makes the motion to table it has the option of saying, I move to table this matter until such and such date, or you table it without a date specific, and then in order to remove it from the table, you have to make a motion to remove an item from the table. So it's one or the other. And I believe at the last meeting, it was tabled with no specific date, if I remember correctly.
Right, all we said was we're going to have executive session, which we did to discuss this. It just didn't come back on the agenda. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Going back to new business, 6.01, approval of Nelson Pena as interim director. Dr. Brago.
Yes, as you know, we were in need of help in the business department. I looked at our records from the past, and I saw that Mr. Nelson had helped the district in the past. So basically, I'm trying to follow the same format. We put the item on the agenda. If it's approved by the governing board, then I think HR will complete the necessary forms for him.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the approval of Nelson Pena, Director?
Mr. President, there are no questions or comments.
Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board to approve item 6.01?
Mr. President, I move for approval of 6.01.
Motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Is there any questions or comments at this time?
Yes,
Trustee Smith?
President, I'm not totally against, taking, on the CFO as an interim, but from what I gathered from the email that I received, I'm thinking that this is a nice, nasty way of saying that, the CFO position the CFO will not be returning. Now, that's what I got from my email. Maybe if I'm wrong, then maybe he can explain it to me. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've been an administrator for 20 years, and these are the kind of letters that I passed out when I know that that person will not be coming back, and that's what I got. And so I need some understanding with this particular email, Dr. Abrego. Is this a letter of termination, or just give me some type of understanding, because from what I'm reading, it's like you've already made the decision to not let the CFO come back.
Well, number one, that is not true. No one has made a decision. The only thing is we are in limbo because there's an investigation going on. Until we get the facts, we can't move forward. During that time, we have a person that's just filling in temporarily. That's basically it.
So my next question to you is, when will the investigation start?
I'm hoping that the sooner the better. I'm going to be contacting the attorney tomorrow to see where we're at, but hopefully it's up to the attorneys for them to collaborate with us and let us know when it's going to start. But I'm saying I'm hoping for it to start as soon as possible this week. I would like for it to get started.
So when we were going to be informed as a board member, when this particular procedure process was going to take place, shouldn't we have been notified in an exec session that an attorney had been contacted regarding this investigation?
Not necessarily. It's the superintendent has the ability to spend up to $10,000, and this is a matter that has to be taken care of immediately. So I did communicate with the governing board president. I said, look, we're in a situation. I'd like to get this started. It could go more than that, so I want to get your approval to get it started, and then we'll meet an executive session with the board to see if it were to continue beyond that, but I'm hoping it doesn't.
So here is saying she starts the 26th, and the next step of the procedure is placed on this item, the board agenda for May 1st. The meeting first, which is today, meeting will make it official. So how long do you think he will be taking this position? Because we're saying, which means $3,000 for May and the $3,000 if he is needed in June. So that would basically, my understanding is, out of this letter, this email, is stating that he would be at the same salary as our current CFO. So we are paying two CFOs, because one is on leave, administrative leave, and now we're paying him. I just need some clarification.
Well, I don't think we're paying two CFOs.
Wouldn't that salary basically,
No, we have a gentleman who has a job description, and he's doing that job. The only thing we've asked him to do is, can you pick up some additional duties to keep us moving as far as the daily operations of the business department? That's basically it.
okay, so in that case, if that's the case, then shouldn't there be something written up stating that, other than just this email? Like
I don't know. I mean, As I,
Just to cover you, to cover
well,
us.
it's, all I'm doing is what you've done in the past. So the same steps you did when this gentleman helped you in the past, we're following the same format. I don't know what the other superintendents did, but I just took all your paperwork. The same thing that we did in the past is the same thing I'm trying to do today.
Is there any other questions from the board?
Chairman Rodriguez,
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
there you go again, not knowing my name. I just want to say, Mr. Pena, thank you very much for stepping up to do this. My no vote is not because of, I understand you do the work, and you do a great job at your job, but my no vote's because I think we're just unfortunately wasting our funds on something that, again, is a witch hunt, so.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr.
Yeah,
President?
Mr.
Oh,
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Mr. Harris.
I just wanted to make sure that the motion was clear for the record, that this would be retroactive to April the 26th. So for, I think trustee Gomez made the motion, is that correct?
Yes.
And that, is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay. I just want the record to be clear.
Madam Secretary, roll call.
No, Mr. President, I have a concern too as well. So you saying this is going to go retroactive as of April the 26th? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
And so this is the salary that he's going to start at that, from that point?
I think it's $3,000 per month.
Right, but when did Ms. Simmons leave? When did Mrs. Simmons leave?
I think maybe a day or two before that.
Right, so I'm like Mrs. Trustee Hernandez Orange and Ms. Smith. If my understanding that Mr. Pena, he was already doing some of this work anyway, right? He was already.
Well, he's not doing CFO work, he's doing his work, whatever
Does
his
his work
responsibility.
consist of some CFO?
No.
Okay, because the reason I'm asking that is because it's my understanding that Mr. Pena is her assistant,
No,
but he's not.
I don't, well, you're not her assistant, right? You have your own department to run.
I'm just asking.
I mean, he's in the business department.
Well, but those are, my concerns, because I have to go with Trustee Rodriguez and Ms. Smith.
Hello?
You know, and even though we were supposed to have an exec session, that's my understanding too. We've not had that. We're just discussing it out in the open right now.
Mr. President. Mr. President?
Oh, he froze.
Yeah.
Well,
Was he able to hear everything we said, do you think?
Sure where he cut out.
Oh. I'll get the gavel and say adjourn. That's fine. Can you get him on, or you want me to sit here?
I log back in.
Okay,
A good time for a recess.
all right.
Yeah, none of our internet's working. Mine
None of
isn't either. It's the internet here that's not working.
There he is.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Sorry, can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
It still looks like he's frozen.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I think you're coming in and out, though.
And I apologize.
It's the internet.
Am I?
It's, no, we're off.
So,
It's the internet at the school. It's not you, Chairman. Because I can't get, our board docs is going in and out right now, too, also.
How about now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Was there any other discussions?
Board President, were you able to hear our conversation?
I did hear the conversation, however, I guess there was a question with, to Mr. Pena, which I didn't hear. I'm assuming he's in the audience?
Yes, he
There
is.
wasn't a question to him. Oh, yeah, there was. I'm sorry.
He is in the
Oh, was
audience.
there- That's the only part I did not hear, so, Mr. Pena, can you repeat that?
He didn't speak.
Or whatever the question was. I think the question was whether, was he,
Yeah, he was asked, Board
Correct.
President, he was asked if he was the CFO's assistant.
gotcha. And what was the answer?
His answer was, he's not the assistant, he works in the business department, and he has his own specific responsibilities.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is there any other questions or comments from the board?
Mr. President.
Trustee Gomez?
Yeah, when we've had this situation before, slightly different. That was where a vacancy occurred, and Mr. Pena took over those duties on a day-to-day basis until we were able to fill that spot. But oftentimes, not oftentimes, but we have had an issue before where somebody's been off for whatever reason, and we filled that spot. So it's not really a matter of paying two CFOs or two positions. It's a matter of paying to keep the district running functionally. So if it wasn't Mr. Pena, it would have to be someone else. The school district does have to continue its daily operations.
Any other questions? Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
No.
Trustee Gibson King?
No.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 6.02, approval of No Kid Hungry grant. Dr. Brago?
Yes, this is a grant that was awarded to us, a $23,000 grant awarded to the School City of Chicago by the No Kid Hungry campaign. And the chief point of contact for the grant was the CFO. Mr. Pena will be the interim treasurer, and he will help us with this.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to the approval of No Kid Hungry grant?
Mr. President, there is one question.
Hearing none.
No, Mr. President, there is a question from the
Oh, there
audience.
is.
Ms. Askew?
Yes, Dr. Brager, will this include the library, the kids that's being gonna be fed during the summertime?
Let me just give it a quick scan here. I believe so. I believe so. I'll read it again, but if you're welcome to look at it with me after the meeting, but I think it does include the library. It's just a School City of Chicago children. So if they reside in Chicago.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
I just want to help with that question. So if it's not through the, through this grant, when we ended up making our agreement with the K through 12, they have a certain portion that had to go back into our community. So that's where the money usually comes from, is through just the overall contract that we have with that. They have to give a certain percentage or money-wise to the community. So that's probably where the money for the food for the students, or the children. You're welcome.
Is there any other questions from the audience?
Mr. President, there are no other questions.
Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board?
Mr. President,
One more
with the
time.
approval of 6.02.
All right, motion made by Trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I'm sorry, second by Trustee Gibson King, right?
Yes.
Is there any questions or comments?
Yes. So, with this particular grant, who's gonna oversee this?
Said,
The interim CFO?
yes.
Okay, did you read this entirely, in its entirely? No, I did not.
You said,
Okay,
Mr. Quinn,
well,
you're
it's
gonna do
saying
it.
is all i's have to be dotted and all t's have to be crossed. And to my understanding, there's a time on it. So I just want to make sure that if, we don't want to lose anything. So if he's going to do this, this is a part of his position right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 6.03, approval of MOU with Dunes Learning Center. Dr. Brago.
Yes, this is a MOU between the Dunes Learning Center and East Chicago Schools. The purpose is to provide our students with hands-on experience on environment. This is for Washington Elementary, and they want to send 60 students to the Dunes Learning Center.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the approval of the MOU with Dunes Learning Center?
Mr. President, yes, Reverend Sluss?
If approved, how would those students be identified? So just take that opportunity to vote.
It's usually done through the schools, the principal or team. I believe they're going to target 5th and 6th graders. I don't know exactly which ones, but when I talked to the principal of the school, she said they have criteria for the kids to go.
Any other questions or comments? Do I hear a motion to approve item 6.02?
Mr. President, I move for approval of 6.03.
I'm sorry, 6.03. Thank you for correction. Motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Gibson King. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Chairman Rodriguez?
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
I just want to say, so this is an MOU with the entire school city of East Chicago, not just one school. And I know this for a fact because not only does it say on here that there's one project of having all the 6th grade students participate, but they actually, I had a meeting with IDEM and the EPA and other surrounding area schools as well, and they talked about our program here with the Dunes Learning Center, and I think I made mention to it. So they actually allow all of our 6th grade students throughout the entire district, and they participate in projects for, it's a specific week that they have. Then they go and do some type of science activities at the Dunes Learning Center. So I think this is a great thing for our students, and I know that the Dunes Learning Center is extremely excited about it, and they try to actually do programs at different schools based off what we have here in East Chicago. So I think this is very awesome to have.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 6.04, approval of E-rate basic maintenance of internal connections recommendations. Dr. Brago.
Yes, again, I do have Jorge Ontiveros, he's our Director of Technology. I asked him to come because I may need some help, but I believe he has 3 items, 604, 605, and 606. And what he's doing is he is applying for E-rate money, and then they want to get this work done for the district. This one is for maintenance of internal connections. The good thing is when we do get E-rate approval for our audience, whatever the cost of the project is, we only pay 15%. So in this case, we would pay $8,000 for the entire project, and it is a contract for 3 years.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regard to the approval of E-rate basic maintenance of internal connections recommendation?
Mr. President, there is one question. Ms. Orange?
Is that $8,000 a year
Mr. Ontiveros is here. I believe it's $8,000 per year, right? Yes, $8,000 per year. And again, I just want to reemphasize the audience, we're paying $8,000, but in reality, we're getting about over $80,000 worth of equipment.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board to approve item 6.04?
Mr. President, I move for approval of 6.04.
Okay, motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by trustee Smith. Is there any questions at this time?
Mr. President,
Trustee
there's
Gomez.
two items. Mr. Ontiveros, I know many in the audience may not be familiar with E-rate. Could you explain what this means, how it works for the school district?
Sure, not to. I'll just use the definition that's on the site because I kind of figured that was going to happen. I don't want to chop it up, but a federal program that provides discounts to assist most schools and libraries in the United States to obtain affordable telecommunications and internet access. Pretty much how we get our internet here to the district.
And is it 10% or 15?
15.
15? Okay. The other question was, this relates to the entire school district, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 6.05, approval of E-rate McKinley Access Point upgrade recommendation. Dr. Bregel?
Yes, it's basically the same thing. I have Mr. Ontiveros here, but we are using our E-rate money to improve the Wi-Fi at McKinley School. The cost for the district is going to be $8,000. And Mr. Ontiveros, I want to say, if we are paying full price, how much would we actually be paying?
I don't have the full, again, it's 15%, but it's a 5-year warranty on the equipment.
But it's like over 80,000,
Oh,
right?
yeah. This is
okay.
over 80,000.
So
For this
whatever
project.
it's costing for the whole project, we only pay 15%.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the approval of E-rate McKinley Access Point upgrade recommendation?
Mr. President, no questions.
Okay, do I hear a motion then from the board for the approval of item 6.05?
Yes, I got a question, Mr. President.
A motion, sounds like motion made by trustee Gibson King?
Yes,
Okay, is there,
yes,
No, she had a
I
question.
got a question.
oh, I'm sorry. Let's wait on the question till we get a motion in on the floor. Is there a did you make a motion?
No, somebody
Trustee?
down there made a motion.
Trustee
Okay,
Smith did.
okay, trustee Smith makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by trustee Gomez. Go ahead with your
My
question.
question is to George.
Trust-
I noticed that these are all bids, right?
Correct.
Every last one of these are, right?
Correct.
But I noticed that the first one, there's 3 years in the 6.04, even though we have not gotten to the 606. But what's the year term on this one here?
5 years.
605. It's 5 years on this one? Okay, it doesn't read that here that I'm looking at, but it's 5 years?
It's 5 years. The next two are 5 years.
Okay, they're 5 years.
Yeah, the
Okay,
first one
that's-
was only 3.
That's my question.
Is there any other questions from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes,
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 6.06, approval of E-rate district switches upgrade recommendation. Dr. Bregel?
Yes, it's, again, from the Technology Department to improve district switch upgrades. Would you like to explain what that is so that our audience knows?
Sure. Basically, it's like a big surge protector that you plug everything in, just to make it in layman's terms. These go throughout the district. We are obviously up for an upgrade. Just like anything else in technology, we need to upgrade our infrastructure just to get faster internet speeds.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to the approval of E-rate district switches upgrades recommendation?
Mr. President, there's a question.
Okay?
Mr. President, what sort of virus protection will this upgrade be accompanied by?
Oh, that has nothing to do with the viruses. This is just transport. This is just how to get from point A to point B. The switches that we're talking about. Yeah.
Is there any other questions from the audience?
None.
Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board for the approval of item 6.06?
Make a motion for approval.
A
Second.
motion made by, I'm sorry, I had trouble hearing the first motion. Who was it by?
Trustee
Trustee
Smith.
Gibson?
Yes.
Smith.
Smith.
Trustee Smith.
Trustee Smith makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second made by trustee Gomez. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Thank you. We already have these, like these little trays, right? And we approved those, what, like 5 or 6 years ago? So now I understand with technology changing, we have to upgrade. So I do understand the importance of those little carts. At first I didn't, but now I understand. But we do have them in our district, but like the audience and the district need to know that everything with working with technology has to be improved. It has to be updated in order to keep up with technology.
Times.
Totally agree. Yes, we have to be able to maintain our infrastructure to what's out in technology now in the real world. So yeah, we cannot be behind. That's one thing that where our technology divide needs to be small. And with E-Ray does help us be able to get this equipment at a lower cost. So that's where we have to take advantage of these programs.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 6.07, approval of summer student internship, summer 2023. Mr. Borrego.
Yes, this is a technology department would like to hire 5 students during the summer months to help satisfy their work-based learning experience requirements to earn a diploma. The students will be recommended by the CTE program. They will be working June 5th through June 28th, and they work from 8 to 12 each day.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the approval of summer student internship, summer 2023?
Mr. President, there's a question, Ms. Askew.
How long will the program last? Just for summer, during the summer school, 4 hours, 4 weeks, or?
It's from June 5th through July 28th.
Trustee Gomez?
No more questions.
Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board to approve item 6.07?
Mr. President, I move for approval of 6.07.
Motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by trustee Smith. Is there any questions or comments from the board?
Yes. We've had this program for about 2 years. So I just want the district to know this is an ongoing program. I think he started this 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And it has helped a lot of students, those that are interested with the CTE, in order to take that particular skill to a different level. So, yes, we've done this before. This is nothing new.
Mr. President.
Trustee.
Thank you. I'm glad trustee Smith brought that up. And again, maybe the audience isn't aware, your comment at the end of the letter says that the internship will satisfy the work-based learning requirement to earn their diploma. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, depending on the CTE, on the programs that they're taking, some of the, I guess, on-site workmanship or internship is based on them graduating or getting their not saying points, but Ms. Lee, CT Program Director, will have more information on that. I'm more on the technology side, but I know that they need these soft skills and hard skills in order for them to get advanced in order for them to graduate, pretty much.
Thank you.
Any other-
Chairman Rodriguez, just a suggestion for the board, if they want to know the new requirements of graduation pathways in regards to the workforce, I think they should come in and have a presentation because that was started. But I know Mr. Ontiveros is more technology-based. He's just giving the opportunity for our students to be able to get that check mark off.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the board or comments? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 6.08, approval of Title 1A SIG allocation grant for Block Middle and Harrison Elementary. Dr. Brickell.
Yeah, and yes, I don't think this is something that has to be approved because it's just an award for our district. And I just want to let our governing board and our audience know that 2 schools in the school city of Chicago, Block Junior High in Harrison, received the SIG grant. Block Junior High received $198,903, and then Harrison is going to receive $161,405. And this is from Title 1A, and it's basically to improve our schools and our teachers through professional development.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to the approval of Title 1A SIG allocation grant for Block Middle and Harrison?
Mr. President, no questions.
Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board to approve item 6.08?
I make a motion, Mr. President, to approve 6.08.
Motion made by trustee Gibson King. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by trustee Smith. Is there any questions or comments?
Trustee Rodriguez, I'm sorry, Chairman Rodriguez, see, I told you I'd mess up. I do have a comment. The superintendent stated that this is just more so of a FYI rather than needing approval, but correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Harris, all monies coming into the school district should be approved. Am I correct in stating that?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. So this is an approval for all this money to be put onto, so we're approving both the grants, separately, together? Separately? They have to be approved separately, Attorney Harris?
They should be, yes.
So we might want to rescind that motion, have them approved separately.
Well, let me clarify. They should be because someone has the opportunity to object to one grant, the acceptance of one grant, and be okay with the acceptance of the other grant. So typically, you don't lump motions together for that reason. There isn't a rule that prevents you from doing it, so I don't want
Got
to
it.
misstate the facts, but.
Okay,
And I want to agree with trustee Hernandez Orange that, all dollars, whether it's grants related, does have to get approved by the board. So I'm glad you caught that. Is there any other questions or comments from the board?
Yes, I would like Dr. Brago
Right.
to let the district know what these grants will be used for. I mean, we just saying, there's a grant, but what is used for?
Okay,
Explain.
I hope we send the package out to everyone. Everyone should have received it. It says this grant will be used to support teachers with professional development, collaborative problem solving, conflict resolution, effective communication, and improvements to learning through teacher development.
Is there any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 6.09, approval of Zoos R Us at Cary Gas Pre-K. Dr. Brago.
Yes, this is for our preschool. They want to do something a little bit different during their field day. They requested to have a petting zoo at their school. The petting zoo will include animals such as goats, sheep, chickens, bunnies, mini donkey, llama, calf, so it's just exposing our students to these animals that probably have never seen before.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the approval of zoos or Russ at Kerry Goss Pre-K?
Yes, Ms. Orange has a question.
Okay.
Yes, we've even gone beyond that because I believe when we were talking with our attorney, we have a waiver that I think that our students have to, he created one, so our students have to sign off before they participate in this.
Is there any other questions or comments from the audience?
No other questions.
Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board for the approval of item 6.09?
Mr. President, move for approval 6.09.
Motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Is there any questions or comments at this time? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 6.10, approval of the the approval of amendment number 1, contract for Rosalinda Martinez. Dr. Brigham.
Yes, we had a contract for HR consultant. It was supposed to run through June 30th. However, I believe there was an error, and our attorney amended the contract to make sure that there was sufficient funds to carry through the June 30th.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to the approval of amendment number 1, contract for Rosalinda Martinez?
Mr. President, no questions?
No, did you say no questions,
No
trustee Gomez?
questions. Yes, no questions.
Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board for the approval of item 6.10?
Mr. President, I move for approval 6.10.
Motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second? I'll make the motion. I'll second that motion, actually. Is there any questions or comments from the board?
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes.
Dr. Abrego, can you please state the reason why the error consisted?
I don't know. When I talked to our attorney, I explained the contract. The contract said from January to June 30th. However, I don't know who calculated the figures, but.
I can add to that, Dr.
Okay.
Brigo, if you'd like
If
me
you
to.
would help us with that.
Sure. I think the amount not to exceed figure in the original contract wasn't sufficient to take it through June. So I think that's where the error occurred. It was in the calculation of the amount not to exceed number. So the contract did go through the appropriate date, but it didn't have sufficient funding in the document itself.
So this contract, we actually started it off back in January of '23? And have we made any motions to actually hire so that maybe we actually wouldn't be in this predicament to continue the contract, whether we have someone in place?
I believe the next step would be is that we would post for HR coordinator, and then once we get the HR coordinator, then we would no longer need this gentleman, or I'm sorry, this lady.
So, but is there a reason why we haven't been doing that?
I'm sorry.
So January 2023 is when we got this contract, and I think she was on there a little bit longer. I don't remember. So with that being said, my assumption is we should have already gone through the process to find somebody to, because, oh yeah, she was on there, because their main reason for being on there was because of the fact that they were supposed to do a book for onboarding. I think that was the main purpose, correct me if I'm wrong. But with that being said, my assumption is that it was already done because they told us it was done. That was the main reason why she was here. Why have we not hired somebody else in that position since we know that we redid the contract in January 2023? Why are we here again? And now we're making putting more money into the contract. So like I stated, when we first gave the person the contract, they're actually going to end up probably making more money as a contractor rather than in their position.
That's right.
Good. Point well taken. So as soon as I get back to the office tomorrow, I'll make sure that we post for a coordinator. Make sure that we take care of that right away.
Question was answered.
Yes, and I got a question, Mr. President, too. Yeah, because she's, this person's
Trustee Gibson King.
been here since September of 2021, if I'm not mistaken, and we keep approving contracts. But, Mr. Harris, what you have here, the amended one,
Yes.
there's no date.
So it goes through the end of the school year. That's when it's intended to go through.
It's not on this amended.
No, it's in the original agreement. The amendment only deals with the dollar amount. So the original contract doesn't go away. The only thing that's being amended with the contract is that dollar amount. All the rest of the terms and conditions of the original agreement still hold true.
Well, that's fine, because I'm new, and if I
No problem.
hadn't got this information, I would have been looking for it to be in this amended one here when they do it.
Understood. Yeah, there's, just to be clear, this isn't an amended agreement where it's everything in one document. It's just an amendment to that original agreement. All those other terms and conditions in the agreement itself are still there.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Dr. Abrego, is all the work that she was originally received the contract for, is it done?
Is done. It's ongoing. I mean, she's helping us with basically the job of the HR coordinator.
So then, there's a possibility if we don't hire by June, then she'll stay on after June, is what you're telling me, because
I don't think it would take that long. I mean, I just told you, tomorrow when I go into the office, I'm going to tell the HR department, please post for the HR coordinator. We find somebody who's qualified, we interview them, we get them on board. It shouldn't take 2 months.
oh, so then they might be able to do it within 2 weeks, so this might not even be necessary. Thank you.
Is any other questions or comments from the board?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
I think to that point, the job duties for the HR coordinator are approved at this point in time? Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
So-
the job description is this, I'll put it like that. Job description is this.
Okay.
We created that upon the,
And so to trustee Hernandez Orange question, the duties are spelled out already, so this individual would know what their job duties are. Should they need assistance, would you be able to help them through their learning curve? Thank you.
Confused.
Chairman Rodriguez, my only
Trustee,
my question is, so if we don't approve, okay, after today, after we pay her back monies, then this contract is null and void, correct?
negative. I believe what I'm hearing is that the contract is till June 30th, correct?
So after June 30th, we're done.
Right.
That's
Correct.
if we don't have somebody in that position. That's just that.
Then we have to talk about that. Then it's another conversation. Any other questions, comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
No.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
No.
Trustee Gibson King?
No.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 6.11, approval of JAG program. Dr. Abrego.
Yes, this is a partnership with the Northwest Indiana Workforce Board and the School City of Chicago. The program serves as an alternative education dropout program that allows seniors to attend school and also work part-time. And even the program even follows them after they graduate for an additional year. It's a program that's, we have at Central High School.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to the approval of the JAG program?
Mr. President, no questions.
Okay, hearing none. Do I hear a motion from the board to approve item 6.10, or 11, I'm
President.
sorry.
Mr.
I
President, I
make a
move for
motion,
approval
Mr.
of 6.
President, to approve it. 6.11?
111, sorry, 6.11. So motion made by trustee Gomez, second by trustee Smith,
No,
correct?
No, that's
Gibson.
by trustee Gibson King. I'll second it.
Okay, trustee Gibson King seconds the motion. Is there any questions or comments at this time? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Yeah, I do apologize. I'm having trouble hearing the board members at this time, so. We're at item 7, Subcommittee 7.01. Is there any updates from the Policy Committee? Trustee Gomez?
Yes, we do. We did meet for Policy Committee with Attorney Snow. We reviewed a few items. We're hoping we have one more meeting to present those to the board. In the meantime, I've been doing some research with the Indiana State Board of Accounts and the areas that we are failing in. There are some policies that there were some recommendations by the Indiana State Board of Accounts that I don't believe the previous or the current CFO had brought in front of the board. So we want to try to bring those in so that we remain in compliance with the Indiana State Board of Accounts. That concludes my remarks.
7.02, Finance Committee. Is there any updates in the finance? Trustee Gibson King?
Mr. President, no, there's no updates, but I just want to ask Mr. Pena, if I do need to have a meeting, you would be the person? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Item 8, Superintendent's remark. Dr. Abrego?
Yes, thank you very much. And I was also going to ask everyone to take a moment of silence, but we did that at the beginning, so I appreciate that. We did that for our students. Also, I want to say a special thank you to our crisis team, our social workers, our counselors, and staff who helped during that difficult time at Central High School. I also want to thank our local schools, churches, and businesses for their support. It's great to know that we have a lot of support surrounding all of our students. Thank you, all the people that helped. Today is Principal Appreciation Day, and next week is Teacher Appreciation. I just want to take this time to recognize all of our staff for their constant love and support that they show to our students each and every day. Your work is admirable and is appreciated deeply. Also, a reminder to all our parents and community that tomorrow is an e-learning day. Lessons will be live, but students will have to work from home. Remember that there is really no school for students tomorrow. They stay at home. And then the other thing is, the last day to sign up for summer school is May 8th. Students can do this online, or parents can sign their children up online, or they can ask their school for assistance. Summer school is going to run from June 5th through June 30th, Monday through Friday. And two other important things of importance. The past 2 weeks, we have been doing iLearns testing in our schools for students in grades 3 to 8, and things have been going great. I really want to say a special thank you to our students, our staff, and our parents, because the Indiana Department of Education requires that we test 95% of our students, and right now, we're right on task. So that's a very important step in making sure we improve all of our schools. And also a very important announcement, I know people have been waiting this for a while. I want to thank again the parents and the community for coming out to the superintendent forums. They came out, they spoke, they voted. So the concern was whether we're going to reorganize and combine Block and Central High School. And we had over 300 people vote, and it came out this way. 40%, or approximately 120 of the 300 individuals, said yes, and 60% said no. So we are not going to be moving our students from Block Middle School to Central High School. The other thing, I also asked the parents to help me with improving our district and our schools. So we polled our parents, again, 300 individuals voted, and they said 80% or 240 parents and community members said that they want change in our schools. So they want us to restructure the schools and make things better for our students. So we will be doing that also. Thank you very much for giving us input and for your help, and know that the board and the superintendent has honored your votes. Thank you.
Okay, number 9, trustee remarks. We're going to start with trustee Smith. Any remarks at this time?
The only comment that I have is, Dr. Brago, I'm asking you to please follow up on this investigation so we can move forward and continue the business at hand on our children, updating our grades, and moving on with all the projects that are so needed to be completed. So please do not procrastinate with this. Since you all made it such an issue about it, let's do it and get it done with so we can move on things that are more important, like our teachers, our students, and everything else in our district, so that Mr. Nelson won't have to be bogged down with all of this, because now it's on you. So I'm asking you, Dr. Brago, do not sit on this. Asking you, ASAP, please, so we can clear this up and keep it moving. Thank you.
Trustee Gibson King?
Oh, yes. Yes, Mr. President. Yeah, I'd like to say to Mr. Brago, I was at Ivy Tech today, and they have a lot of courses to offer to our students. And what I don't understand is we don't have a lot of our students going to Ivy Tech. We have 4 dual credits from CTE. And I asked, well, did we have any students? There are none. We have culinary arts, and I asked the question to the culinary arts person, are they taking the students down the street to let them know that Ivy Tech does have culinary art there? She said not at this time. I can't remember what her name was. But anyway, I spoke with a guy named Brian, who's dealing with BP, big refinery of ours here in Whiting, and I was my understanding that you were there. Did you go there? Okay, so what I would like is for him to come in and give a presentation to the board so that we can get our students to know about these programs that's at Central. No students are there from Central, and there are 30 students that's there now, but they're not from Central, and this is something that I think that our children will benefit from. So I would like to see if they could come in at the next school board meeting and give some kind of presentation, let us know what they are really doing for our students, as well as not them. But like I said, there are other entities that's there as well that's doing something too. And then there's also a flyer that they have out that they have free tuition for our students for the summer for free textbooks, free tuition from grades from 9th through 12th grade for the summer for the spring of 2023. So I'd like to, to get that out on our website if possible. Thank you, Mr. President.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes, I wanted to just say, just to clarify, that for tomorrow, there is school. It's just no in-person learning. That's the verbiage that we're supposed to be using. No in-person learning, you're online. So there is school. Just want to make sure we say that correctly. And I am extremely happy to know that the community came out so that they could get their voices heard in regards to the consolidation, in regards to the school. Again, not that I was ever opposed to it. The fact of the matter is, we didn't have a plan to show the reason why and how to make sure everyone was going to be separate and there was going to be no crossing of younger students to older students. But all that, there's so much we need to plan today for the future, basically is what I'm saying. Also, about 2 meetings ago, I asked about the rumor in regards to our Carrie Gosh Early Learning Center, all those preschool students moving into the elementary schools. So I know there's talk about that, and I'm assuming everyone else knows except for the board. I believe you need to clarify with the board what's happening before those things actually happen. And we're buying boxes, so I'm assuming there might be a move. Also, in regards to something that was done in the meeting today for the discussion about the coordinators for the HR, something that we had on the table, like we said, since September, since there was actual resignation from Ms. Martinez, as well as even the last contract in January. That's an instance where we're dropping the ball of not getting something done immediately. If we know the position and we know something has to get done, then, we should have probably moved forward with it. Yes, I was opposed to having new positions being brought, as well as hiring at a new position because of the election. Yes, I did say that. But I was never opposed to the people who've been working here and them getting contracts, never opposed to that. I was never opposed for that work to have been done previously, to hire a coordinator or just to get what we needed in place. Same thing with the coaches. You do not have fall coaches ready. All these things that we're dropping the ball on, and it's unfortunate for the kids. Since I got on the board, I didn't understand why we kept doing that, but it's we just focus on the wrong stuff, and I just hope that we start focusing on things for students and not for adults. Because I always end on good notes, a couple things I did want to mention. Not only is today Principal's Day, but last week we had Bus Drivers Day, and bus drivers, they are the first face of some students get to see. So thank you for being just that smiley person to our kids. And there's a lot of pressure that lies on a bus driver. So thank you guys so much for just being who you are and continuing to come to school every day for our students. The other thing I wanted to say is on April 28th, we highlighted one of our educators, Mr. David Lane, for his continued support of not only the students, and not support, but just support, love, and education to students as well as to our community. Annually, Mr. David Lane brings over 20, 30 students to any activity or event that we have in the city. And one thing, being a former student of his, is he always makes sure that you give back to the community, because in reality, our community is what helps us grow. So a thank you to him again for not only coming and giving to our community education time and love. Like I said, he has touched at least 5,000 students. But he also brought so many students that are inspired by him that we had over 70 trees planted at Smith Park, so that's in the New Addition area. And every year, we're adding more and more trees because we have more and more people. So hopefully we'll add maybe, let's shoot for 100 at a location, and we had 50 students go, maybe we could get at least 60 or 70 students. That'd be great. So that's all from me.
As far as my comments, I just like to honor the memories of Fernando Soto and the two high school students that were no longer with us. It is always a difficult and sad time when we lose someone we care about, especially as young as Fernando and Diego. I offer my deepest condolence to those who knew and loved Fernando and Diego. It is important to remember them, honor their memories in whatever way feels meaningful to you. I also like to give my condolence to Oscar Guajardo's for passing of his wife. I'm deeply sorry to hear about the passing. Please accept my sincere condolence during this difficult time. Losing a loved one is never easy, and I can only imagine how hard it must be for you and your family. Please know that you are in our thoughts and prayers. That's the end of my report. Next is public forum. Attorney Harris?
Yes, please
Mr.
state.
President, before you move, I'd like to make a comment.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll bounce it right back to Attorney Harris. There are two resolutions that we talked about. Would you mind addressing both of those and where they stand at currently?
So I believe there was 2 resolutions that dealt with pending legislation, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just haven't had an opportunity to discuss those with you to make sure we're on the same page in terms of the language, but I anticipate bringing that before the board at the next meeting and having those prepared.
Thank you. The other thing I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is that while Mr. Nelson's acting in an interim position, there's a lot going on outside of the school district as well. There are some new deadlines that have come in front of the state legislatures put forward, and we need to be on top of those. So Superintendent Brago, if you could, pass that on to Mr. Pena, that there's more work to be done outside of this school district because we may be missing some important deadlines that are coming up near the end of this month. Finally, last comment would be that I know the board has established some superintendent goals, and I think in the spirit of transparency that we publish those goals on the school district website. That concludes my remarks.
We didn't do
Okay.
We didn't do
Public forum, Attorney Harris?
We didn't agree to that.
We do have people that signed up?
3.
Okay. All right, if you could please state your name and your address when you step up to the podium. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be respectful of the board and the audience members, as well as the staff, and please refrain from discussing any personnel matters. Thank you.
Mr. President, first person is to speak is Reverend Wade.
Let me say good evening to the board and to all of you who are here today, and to our pastors who are here today. So good to see you. I beg your permission to go over 3 just for a minute or 2. The reason why is because I need to explain why I'm here, and I don't want to be disrespectful. But what happened was last Monday, when we went to the school, we've been praying there every Monday at 8 o'clock. We arrived on the scene, the superintendent was there, and he invited us into the school because something had happened with those 2 young men. We were devastated along with the staff, and I want to appreciate the superintendent because he told us, he said, there are some teachers, there are some students who are traumatized by what went on. So as a result, we went in, we shared with the students, we shared with the teachers. Then on Wednesday, I believe, if I'm not correct, the pastors, we came in on Wednesday, and we in turn shared with the students and with the faculty. On Thursday, I was invited to come to a meeting of the young people. They're called Student Voices. Are you all aware of this name, Student Voices? Well, these are young people, about 40 of them, who meet on a regular basis to discuss some of the problems that they're having internally in the school. And they asked me if I would come and sit down and meet with them. I did that. And of course, for the sake of time, I won't read the letter, but there's some things that they are asking of the board to consider as relate to the school. And I hope that we can meet with superintendent and some of the members of the board. They're asking if this coming Friday at 1:30 at Central High School, if some of the members of the board can meet with them so they can further discuss some of these issues that they have. I have a whole list, but for the sake of time, and I want to respect the time, but I want you to know, I did promise them that I would come to the board and make this request. That's my presentation. These young people, a lot of times we say a lot of things about our young people, but I'm telling you, a lot of our young people have their heads on straight. And they have some needs that need to be addressed. And I trust, and I said to them that I would make this request, and I'm going back again on this coming Thursday. I'll be with them. I promised them that I'll be with them until the necessary time to help them out. I have a heart for young people. I have a heart for these young people. These young people are going through some difficult times, doing, especially with the death of these young men. And then we even had to pray with some of those the staff who was going through some of the things that they went through. If you had seen that Monday, I'm so, again, to the superintendent, if you'd seen that Monday, this was not a good sight. And I'm telling you, can I say it like this? Prayer still works. And we're going to still be there every week. And I urge those of you who are listening to me, I urge some of the board members who can, join us on Monday at 8 o'clock. Those students need to see you. I urge the parents who are listening, join us at 8 o'clock. The students need to see you. And your presence, listen, there's what is known, and I'm done. There's known what in grief ministry and mental health is the power of presence. It's amazing what your presence will just mean to these young people. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was right on time. Next person is Pastor Sloss.
Oh, boy.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I have a letter here that I'm going to read that I will give each board member a copy of. Dr. Abrego, on June 23rd, 2022, you were hired in our school district by the School Board of Trustees. Beyond Textbooks is a program you introduced to our school district. It was voted on and approved by the school board. September 22nd, Beyond Textbooks professional learning communities did a presentation. Since that time, there has been several teachers who have resigned from our school district and new teachers have been hired. What kind of training did the newly hired teachers receive regarding Beyond Textbooks? We know our parents and guardians have no knowledge regarding the Beyond Textbooks program. It is our understanding no other school district in the state of Indiana is familiar with this program. The McGraw-Hill is a program that was already in place for grades K through 6 math. Are we continuing to use the McGraw-Hill program, or are these programs being consolidated? What is the curriculum and grade levels for the Beyond Textbooks program? Carrie Gosh Preschool was thriving under the former principal there. There was a grant written for Carrie Gosh. It is now our understanding the grant dollars have been exhausted. How is the school being funded now? How many students are attending this school? Has the school been turned into a day nursery? The data you presented for the elementary schools and Block Junior High School and Central High School are all failing schools. We want to know what is the data for Carrie Gosh pre-K school. Also, at several meetings, there was talk about a career center being placed in one of our school buildings. Is this something that will take place? We are asking for a written response to these questions by the next school board meeting. Thank you for your time. And I'll give each board member.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Priscilla Askew.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Are you leaving, Dr. Wade? I just want to thank you for what you've been doing, but I would like to suggest that you go to each school, not just.
I'm old.
Well, okay, thank you. To the board, in January, when all of you were taking oath to be the new board members, you guys said that you were going to do such and such and such and such. But after that meeting, the community was very disappointed because it was not togetherness. Within the last 2 to 3 weeks, again, the community has been upset to the fact that you have not been doing what you say you were going to do, having discussions over some wipes, and it was just really just ridiculous for you to embarrass our community like this. If for some reason that those wipes were not supposed to have been given to anybody, they should not have been. But since they've been there since 21, don't you think they're about dried up by now? Really dried up? And I really think that we can do better because we watch you every 2 weeks get up here and talk about what you're going to do, but it's not being carried out. And it doesn't look right for our kids to see you on Zoom, whatever, and then you're going to go back and do something else. It's like being hypocritical. And I've been coming to these school board meetings for over 5 decades, and it seems like we would have gotten better by now. And now I'd like to know, what has the district been doing for all of these teachers? You used to give them a luncheon or from one building to the next to come here and we can, thank you for your service. Have you done that yet? Before you know it, Friday will be over. There's people like Culvers and other people that are telling these teachers that they can come and get a free meal. What are you going to give them? And the last thing I'd like to tell you, that it would really help if you would add prayer on the agenda at the beginning of your meetings. It really helps. And you won't have to look sad or don't look like you want to be here or whatever, but
Just ask you, that's 3 minutes.
I know you tell me that all the time, Jess. But since I'm the last person, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. President, that concludes the public participation.
Okay. I do have one item that was just brought to my attention. Decision day. We had students putting their decisions on Facebook. I want to say kudos to them for just making their voices heard. And that was today. Our next
Mr.
date,
President.
next meeting is, this is a tentative for May 22nd, 2023 at 6 p.m. Do I hear a motion?
Why is it tentative, Chairman?
I'm sorry?
It's tentative?
I want to say tentative because if we have a majority of the board member for the 15th, then we may shoot it for the 15th. I know I won't be here, so, and I believe we have another board member that may not be here as well. So I just want to make sure that we have a full, at least a quorum for the 15th. But right now, I'm shooting for the 22nd as a tentative, but if we can get at least 3 board members for the 15th, then we'll have it for the 15th. That's why it's tentative. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Oh, just someone asked one question, Mr. President, right quick. Just want to make another announcement, I forgot. May the 3rd, which is Wednesday, they have something at Central High School. It's the United States Hispanic Leadership Institute. They will be at Central High School, May the 3rd, with programs to recruit some of our students. So can we put that on the website as well, Mr. Umbrego? Does let the students know? Thank you, Mr. President.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I
Move
make a
to-
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, who made the first? I'm sorry.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion made by trustee Gibson King, second by trustee Gomez. Madam Secretary?
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. And if I said their names wrong, please correct it. Madam Secretary.